Okay guys, so we're about 14 hours into this project. We got the front clip off the truck. We've got the old 450 V8 out of the truck, and we've got the 450 sold and gone, so that's money for the rebuild. I've got the Cummins somewhat torn down, but I wanted to stop and set it in there and kind of see what we were looking at before we went any further. This afternoon we're going to finish tearing the motor on down, but I kind of wanted to get an idea of how it was going to set, what I was going to have to fab. Most of the videos that I watch say that you have to put a 3-inch body lift on the truck to make it work, and we kind of see why once we set it in there. And I'm going to say that the Cummins, since it's a inline 6, is obviously taller than the V8s, so it sets up higher in the truck than the V8s do. So that's part of the reason for the needing to lift the body ups, to accommodate the transmission setting into place. Plus, when you put the motor mounts on, you can see these motor mounts here. There's the old Cummins and the Chevy mount with about, I'm going to say, an inch of space under it. So once you got the actual bottom half of the mount in there, it's going to set a little higher, which is not going to let your crossover for your intake clear the hood. Another thing is the harmonic balancer wants to hit right on that crossover bracket. The motor's really setting probably about where it needs to sit, front and back wise. I've got about an inch and a half or so. I don't know if you can see behind, in front of the firewall and behind the block. So this is probably about where it needs to go, although I'd like it to slide back another 3/4 of an inch. You can see the motor mounts actually to the front side of the cradle for the truck. I actually did watch a video where the guy dropped, he cut that bracket there, this crossover bracket, loose, welded in a plate, and then dropped the motor down 3 inches. And actually I really kind of like that thought, because if this motor's setting up higher than the V8s would, and you can tell that it's setting higher if I was to get down under it and look up from the backside, you're going to see the bell housing's not going to clear the cutout in the firewall. So you raise the body of the truck up to accommodate the motor and the transmission. Well, what that does, in my thinking, that puts your drive line in a different angle than it was originally engineered to set at. So I really do like the thought of dropping all that down and putting your drivetrain, your total drivetrain from front to rear, back in a more level line than this body lift is going to put it in. But to drop it, the balancer is going to be hitting that front bracket, and like I said, you're going to have to cut those loose and drop them and weld them. I'm going to go ahead and doghouse the firewall a little bit too. As you can tell, in front of the radiator, between there and the harmonic balancer, I've only got about 3.5 inches, and the electric fans, they take 4 inches to clear. So I'm a 1/2 inch from clearing, plus another 1/2 inch of space just to have a little bit of a dead space. So really this motor needs to set back about another inch. That'll get it off the cross piece up here. It's going to throw it into my firewall back there a little bit. So by the time I drop this motor 3 inches and slide it back an inch, I'm probably going to doghouse the firewall about a 1/2 inch, which to me is no big deal. I've seen it done both ways. And like, if you watch a lot of these videos, you're gonna see that there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's just however the person wanting to build it goes about building it. But like I said, I like the thought of dropping the motor to get the driveline back in a more level, on a level plane. Keep your axles out of such a incline, a steep bind. I'm not gonna have to cut this front brace. Gonna get my motor thrown back. Gonna give me room for my fans. The only thing that I'm not sure about, and I hope this pump's not trashed, I don't know why I didn't see that when I bought it, that somebody either dropped it or something and pulled it out of its original spot. This other vacuum piece of the vacuum pump goes on right here. I'm not sure how that's going to set. I believe it goes in like that. It probably sets about right here, but once I go to drop that 3 inches, you can tell that's going to be right down in the frame, which isn't going to work. I'm not sure what we're going to do about that. I'm going to have to read up and see what all this motor needs, or what the truck's going to need to work off of vacuum. We're going to take the vacuum boost assist brakes off and go hydro boost. If the only other thing that really needs vacuum is cruise control, I don't know if the wipers need it or not. We'll just have to work around that, and hopefully the one vacuum pump on the bottom, we can plate this off. I don't know, this is all a learning process, and kind of do it as we go, see where we end up. But anyway, just wanted to show you all a couple things of why I'm going to do what I'm doing, what gets in the way. I think if we were going to use the mechanical fan, sitting right there is about right. So that's really where you want to start to line things up when you're getting started. We're fixing to pull this motor back out from under this truck and tear it down. The other thing I wanted to show you on this transmission, if you've never done it, this is the Muncie 4-speed, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it took me about 4 hours to get the motor and transmission out of the truck because I took it apart in the wrong place. I unbolted this 8-bolt bracket. When there's a 6-bolt bracket that bolts up to the transfer case, there's just a spacer in here. Leave this connected right at the back of the transmission, unbolt the other side. This shaft being 8 inches long, you can't raise the motor and transmission up out of the truck without getting that in the bind with that tailpiece. So if I'd have left this tailpiece on, unbolted it here, I would have had, I don't know, 2 inches to have to come out, and I'd have been free and clear. So that was a video I never saw to watch, to see, you know, there wasn't anything showing me which place to get that out at. Here's the transfer case right here, and this is the piece that I'm talking about. This piece right here, unbolt it here and not here. Save you a lot of heartache getting the motor out of the truck. So anyhow, that's kind of where we set. As soon as we pull this motor out of here, we'll be able to take the truck out to the country and pull the cab off, pull the bed off, and start on the chassis process. So today's goal is to get this Cummins dismantled so we can get it over to the machine shop. We'll see you next time.